Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Hope After the Landslide. It seems like I haven't seen you for a while. Before I introduce my guest, I first want to just reach out to those of you that into why you're here. I know that you're here because you've lost a child or maybe even a couple children, and I'm so totally sorry, but we all have now this thing in common, and we are here. The main objective for us to be here is to give you the hope after what we call here at Grieving Moms, hope after the landslide. And that wouldn't have probably been a part, it wouldn't have even started had it not been for my wonderful friend and guest here tonight. And before, again, I introduce her, I just want to say, to drop into the comments and tell us where you're viewing from. Love to hear that. And if there's any questions that you would like to ask me or our guest, Cathy Taylor of Hurting Moms, Mending Hearts. So you're here as a grieving mom, but you also could be here because you have a child that is still struggling. Maybe they were struggling before you lost one of your children, and or maybe they just started to get involved in alcohol or drugs because they can't handle, this loss of their sibling. I don't know what it may be, but I just want you to know that tonight Cathy is also going to provide you hope in that area too. So welcome to the Hope After the Landslide, Cathy, and I'm just so thankful for you being here. Thanks to technology, we can be in separate places. And by the way, I had to get my hair cut so that I could be cool like Cathy, since we're
I got to get mine cut again. So thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun. We both do this independent of each other during the week. It's kind of fun to do this together. So yes. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit, Cathy, about like how God had put this on your heart and why now we've got, these sister groups taking place, and either that or you can start with your story, however you'd like to share that with us.
It's kind of all wrapped up into one for me because the way it got started was because of my story. And I was a hurting mom. I had a child that was out of control and I was desperate. Just the anxiety was taking over my life. Just that feeling that I know some of you can relate to it, going to bed at night with that knot in my stomach, waking up with it, and just trying to figure out how to fix or control her. It was consuming me. And it's really what brought me back to the Lord, as a matter of fact. And so I just began to have this desire to meet with other moms. I kept thinking, surely I'm not the only one. Because when we're going through this with a child that is acting out, whether they're on drugs or whether they've turned their back on us or whatever the reason, in prison, whatever it is, there's a lot of shame involved. And so we don't talk about it. And so since we don't talk about it, we don't know that there's a lot of other moms in the same boat. And so I just felt like I would love to be in a place where I could talk about it without being judged, and with moms who really understood what I was feeling, and where we could just share together, cry together, and pray together. And that's how I started it. It was really out of my own need. And when we first started, I didn't have a curriculum. I didn't have a book. I put a blurb in our church bulletin, and 14 moms showed up the first time. And I didn't even know what we were going to do. We just talked and shared and cried and prayed. And then it was at the end of that year, we kept meeting for a year, but we kind of got better. And one of the things that I've learned over these years, because this was probably 16 years ago, one of the things that I've learned is talking about things and finding out we're not alone takes a lot of the power out of it. And I would imagine that a lot of that would be true in the case of a grieving mom, that, when you're alone and isolated and hurting so badly and so broken, but you don't know who to talk to because nobody really understands that no matter what. But to be in a group like you have for grieving moms, where you come together and know they understand your pain, there's something very healing about just that, about just being in community. Is that right?
Yes.
Would you agree?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, 100%, because it's a different language that we speak that no one else really understands or they can relate to. And they find that they look at us as being a little bit contagious, right, Cathy? Because they're like, ooh, yeah, I don't want to talk to her about this because, gosh, it could happen to me too.
I agree. I feel like, and we don't know what to say. I mean, when someone, even, and it's the same with the hurting mom, when your friends, their kids are all perfect and going off to college, and your child just dropped out of high school and had an abortion, is on drugs, they don't even know what to say to you. And so no, you just feel you isolate. And I would imagine it's the same. You know, one of the things that I've learned from you and from watching your videos and just our conversations is I've learned how, and I feel more comfortable going up and talking to someone now who I know has lost a child, because I know it's okay. You said we want to talk about it. We had a situation just recently at our church. We have a family, and the son took his own life a couple weeks ago. And I was able, because of you, because what you've taught me, to walk right up to them at church. I think in the past I would have kind of gone the other way and not known what to say. And I was able to talk to them and just tell them, I don't have any words. I can't even say I know how you feel. I have no words, but I want you to know that I'm here in this with you, and I'm praying for you and thinking about you. And they were so grateful that I even, brought it up. They said, no, we do want to talk about it.
Definitely.
So
Feel alone, but never alone. And, it's that feeling of like they want to avoid us for many reasons. And, many people even walk away from us. And, the moms, if you're a hurting mom or a grieving mom, you look back and then you think it's a scarlet letter syndrome. You feel like, oh gosh, what did that mom do? Why didn't she prevent this from happening? She must have not been a good parent, all these things. But, we come from a great background, raised altering my kids the same way, did all the right things, family trips. And then it just happens,
Yeah.
And I think if anything in our community, the people that have been watching our family over, because we've been in this area for 40 years, but watching our family, and they've known consistently, what we're about, and that, oh my gosh, and I'm hoping to remove the stigma from what most people will be thinking.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think that's it's part of, there's so much healing in talking about things and expressing ourselves. And as painful as it is, it's not as painful as holding it in and isolating and letting it eat us up from the inside out. And it's a process. I always say, one of the chapters or sessions in the hurting moms is letting go. It's probably different. I don't know. I guess I don't know what all your sessions are, but learning how to surrender our kids to God and learning how to surrender our pain to Him. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's not like you get one little session and you go, okay, good, I'm good to go now. I've surrendered it. It's a process, right? Something we have to do over and over. And I hear you and I hear other grieving moms talk about that too, how you have a good day now and then. You might have a good day and feel like, well, I'm doing pretty good. And then the next day it's like, ugh, you're back in the trenches. And it's the same thing really with grieving moms or with hurting moms, that sometimes we can focus on other things, and there's other days where we're so consumed with what our child is doing or not doing, or the pain that they're causing us, that we can't think about anything else. So I think there's a lot of similarities.
There is, and I will address a couple of those that you mentioned, which I love, because I am hearing the parallel. I want to stop for a moment and say hi to Jeannie, say hi to Cathy, say hi to Marietta. Marietta's saying hi to you, Cathy.
Hi, Marietta.
And to Mary Diener, one of our friends. Thank you guys for being here. And again, if you're just coming on, go ahead and put in the comments where you're viewing from. And if you have a question, if we don't get to address that now, we can certainly address it now. We're talking to Cathy Taylor from Hurting Moms, Mending Hearts, and we are sister groups. And Cathy had this idea to be able to connect with other moms and community when she was going through time with, her children, and to be able to know what to do in the midst of, when they're making wrong choices. And then Cathy will say that, unfortunately, she's had some of the moms then lose their child. Yeah. Jeannie's and from Colorado. Welcome to Colorado. Because then, they had died from an overdose, or, they made the wrong choice. They took their life by suicide, whatever happens to be. So now then grieving moms came along, and the serendipitous relationship that Cathy mentioned while we were praying, it is so amazing that we have a ministry heart. We definitely have a heart to love on you and to give you that hope despite our pain. A passion comes out of our pain, a passion that God wants us to have to help one another. And when you mentioned about stuff about letting go of your child, because like if they walk out the door, Cathy, it's like you're like, okay, I can't just be sitting, by my phone waiting for that call, whether it's from them or from, heaven forbid, the emergency room. And then in our book, it's like we're talking about letting go of their belongings. There are things that we don't have a need for anymore, but deciding what do we keep, what do we let go of. And the same thing is we still have to give that over to God, because every day there's going to be a trigger, there's going to be a different moment. We both go through a year's time if we haven't spoken to our child because they're out and estranged. And so you're going, okay, here comes Christmas, here comes all these special holidays, their birthday, I wonder if we're going to hear from them. And then on our side, we know that we're not. So you anticipate, there's a holiday coming, and now you're anticipating. How are you going to make it through? Our identity needs to be in Christ.
Absolutely. That's the answer. I don't know how. I tell people I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it without Jesus. I have, and I've had a lot of years of practice now, and I still have kids. I've got a son that's an alcoholic that I rarely hear from, and and my kids are by no means have arrived where I wish they were. But you know what? I don't lose any sleep over them. I love them. I love them where they're at, but I'm not stalking them on Facebook. I'm not trying to turn them on. I've just kind of focused on other things and focused on the way Christ wants, whether God wants to use me, in the midst of the pain. And I think He's really faithful to do that. If we turn to Him, He can give us that peace and joy no matter what we're going through. And I wanted to address what you said a minute ago about which is so true. Whereas I've hurting moms, and I've had a lot of moms go through hurting moms groups, and then they become grieving moms. A couple of the moms that you've had on your show have been in hurting moms, and then along the way their child OD'd or something happened to their child. And but the other side of that is sometimes grieving moms where you've lost a child, the siblings of that child who passed start masking their pain over the loss of their loved one by doing drugs, by acting out, by doing whatever they're going to do. And so now you're a grieving mom, but at the same time, you're hurting and aching over this child that you can't really help, that they've got to figure it out for themselves. And that's just got to be like a double whammy, because you've got your own grieving to do, but yet you're grieving over this child who, is in pain and not handling it right. So that's
you don't think that you say, please God, like I don't have the capacity to lose another child. And you think that, okay, well, I've lost a child, like certainly God's not going to, have this happen in our life again. But, unfortunately, again, it's not God, it's free will, and they're going to make those choices. And so, yes, and I want to also really quickly say hi to Margie Edwards for being out there. We get to see Margie on here all the time, and Sherry's here. Hi, Sherry. We've got Arizona. So anyways, thank you guys for being here. Continue to put where you're viewing from on there. So, in looking at, I lost I just came from a long weekend. In fact, talking about another layer is like my daughter-in-law that was married to my son that took his life actually got remarried this past weekend. And imagine just the emotions. I said, you can only put a stethoscope on my heart, like a very special one, to know what my heart is experiencing right now, which is, you knew it was coming, but you don't ever want it to, the reality of it, it's like you don't want to get there. But anyway, so there was a really good point that I was going to make, and I'll think of it. But nonetheless, these moms, I know too, it's like, so these moms are saying, lost a son or lost a daughter, now we've got this other sibling of theirs that is struggling with something, and your anxiety is so much more elevated because you go back into that like this. Your fists are tightened up, and you want to squeeze tight. You don't want to let them go. It's hard to just be at that place, and I love the peacefulness that you have, Cathy, of saying, I have a son that's an alcoholic, and I can put my head down, that doesn't mean that you don't have a compassion and a love for him. I mean, it's so deep, but we just know that we don't have the control over them. Don't.
There's kind of a choice, I mean, we can make a choice in the midst of this, and it may be easier for, again, I don't want anybody, I want you to know I have not lost a child, so I know, I'm not even pretending to know how you as grieving moms feel. But I know for being a hurting mom, there is a choice. We can choose to just lose ourselves in pain and over what our kid's doing and just completely lose our own life, or we can choose to find ways to take our lives back and begin to live again. And I would imagine on some level, somewhere, there could be some similarities there. It may take longer. There's a finality that maybe a hurting mom doesn't have, that a grieving mom has. So, but I feel like, I think we have some choices in here along the way. And it doesn't mean we just choose and then say, okay, I'm choosing to be better, so I'm all better. It isn't like that, but we're choosing to start finding ways to be better. Like getting into a group. I'm joining a grieving moms group. I would say anybody who's watching who has not been in a grieving moms group yet, we're talking about community here and the importance of it. There is nothing like being in a group of women who totally understand your pain and understand what you're going through. And so I just would so recommend that anybody watching who's grieving would really, really look into joining at one of you have some online groups going right now, or how's that working?
Yes, and you're probably going to wonder how, but there's a link at the top here that you can click on if you are interested in becoming, getting a part of the group. And I thank you for asking, because we have a few groups going. I'm doing 2 of them. And yesterday morning, the Monday morning group, I think we're up to 6 or 7, including myself. And it looks like a Brady Bunch screen. Everybody's up there, and they're calling in from all these different places. And such a praise report, because I had this weekend that was so difficult. And then I sit down, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, God, I can't do this. I can't. I'm so tired. I don't have anything left. And they allowed me for the first 5 minutes to be able to open up, have a little bit of a cry. And I said, look, I just facilitate you on when to turn the page, pretty much. It's not that difficult, but I do want to be that hope for them. But they allowed me to do that. And then there was a mom that was on there that joined us, and it had been at least 10 or 12 years. She had a lot of horrific losses, and including her son, and she's never been involved in anything. She got on yesterday. And Cathy and all of you out there, I got to tell you, it was like my spirit just lifted, because she said, thank you so much for this group. Yeah. And I just thought, if it's just for that one woman today, if it's just for that one woman she's literally like, it looked like she was even sitting in her bed. I'm not really sure. But nonetheless, she actually got a little bit of a smile to her face, that she was in tears the week before. But that's what it's about, ladies, because all of a sudden she went, see, you understand what I was trying to communicate to all these other people, family members, good friends. And she said, and finally, after all these years, I finally feel like I'm being heard. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Not, again, we have a ministry heart. Like, we want to help, because that's helping Cathy, I know. It's helping me also to get through my pain, when I know there's almost like this little vitamin B injection that goes into us when we feel like we have another incident that we've done for the kingdom. In that moment, he gives us that gift. I'd like to say hi to Veronica, and it looks like we've got Canada, North Carolina, Karen from North Carolina. Thanks, you guys, for being here so very much. And I encourage you to put comments in there if you are in a group, to encourage those other ladies to do the same, because I think the hardest thing to do, honestly, is to sign up, because you just do I sign up? Like, what are they going to think? Are they going to judge? There is no judgment. There are no skills brought to the table when we do this.
And I'll say too, Hurting Moms has been around longer, so we've had a few hundred women go through online groups, but never has anyone ever said they regretted going through it. I mean, there's always, and I think again that what you were talking about earlier, it's the community thing. There's so much healing in that, in being in community. We are not, God didn't create us to be alone or to isolate. And as painful and difficult as it is to put one foot in front of the other, and guess what? In an online group, you don't have to do that. You can sit on your bed. You don't even have to leave your bedroom, but at least you can be in community with people who understand. And there is something that is so freeing in that, that's just kind of undescribable. I think, I love the groups that I've led and been part of, and you make lifelong friends. I mean, it's like, it really helps you come out of the isolation. And for Hurting Moms this month, it's the month of July where we have the 4th of July, and our theme this month is freedom. We're talking about freedom and finding freedom from the bondage, really. We're kind of shackled when we hold this stuff inside. And so a first step, a baby step in finding freedom. Well, one baby step can be even watching this video, joining us for this, but also, getting into a group where you're actually interacting and sharing with others who totally get it. It's an amazing experience. It makes me want to go get into a group right now. Good.
We have a thing in our group. It's called NMR, no makeup required. So I said, you know what? If you guys come on and you don't want to put your makeup on, it's really okay. I said, I promise not to snap screen, everybody's faces there. Because a lot of times you're getting this, getting those close nose shots. But it's like everybody just really, it gives me joy to see people smiling. And then they were able to make me smile yesterday. There was permission to just be, it's my just be, to say, I had a bad weekend. I don't say I had a bad weekend. I just had a very emotionally draining weekend. That's what I'll say, because it was beautiful. And God is good in every step. And one other thing I want to share is that, in talking to my grieving moms, that I said, when you leave the house, and they laughed. Okay, so this is a Jackeism. I said, you never forget to put your underwear on. Okay, you never forget. You cannot leave the house unless you put on your underarm, like your Under Armour of God. I say, because God has got a plan for you, and Satan has a plan for you. So if you're running out the house in just your underwear, I said, you got to go back in the house. You've got to put on your armor of God. And I said, he has every single step ready for you to take daily manna of what you need to do. Don't worry about what's going to happen in the future. Like with another child that's struggling, just take today and take the time for you to take care of you and tell other people, as I always say to these moms, like, I need something. Like I need a hug. I need to just not get involved in anybody's drama today, as harsh as that sounds, right?
Yeah. There's times that we need it too. That's why we created these things, right? I mean, I don't know if it was the same for you. This is why I started Hurting Moms, was because of my own thing. My own thing.
I mean,
and
so
I had no idea.
Join us together, and Sherry, was introduced me to somebody through my counseling group at Counsel Saddleback Church, and she asked me if I had a publisher. I'm like, no, not in my back pocket, no. And then, Sherry came into my life, and then we're able to put this beautiful, book together. And Cathy has designed the whole foundation of the structure to have these support groups for the grieving moms and the hurting moms. And mine goes through 12 weeks of things that will be very relatable to you, talking about family, coping skills, healthy ones, unhealthy ones, how to go through your children's stuff. It talks about our frozen phase when this landslide initially happens. But again, that link is up there for you to just click on. It's as easy as that. That'll be the hardest thing you have to do, because my moms are looking forward to getting on. Cathy, who's my best friend and my, I guess now I can say she's my assistant. She has her mom going through the group as well. And it's been a long time for her to be able to share. And now she's really, I'm inside trying not to just smile too big, because I'm seeing them interact. In fact, when I went to go grab my coffee, I hear them all talking. And I thought, maybe I should just stay over here for a couple of minutes, because they're all interacting. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful symphony.
It's fun to see those relationships develop and start. And we have people that were in groups together a long time ago, a couple of years ago, that are still interacting and still, even though they might live. The thing that's so cool, I think it's cool about online groups, is you have moms in there from all over the U.S. and Canada. We have moms from New York and Florida and South Dakota and New Mexico and Ontario, Canada. And coming together, and you just, even though they can't hug each other. That's the hardest part about online, I think.
Yes.
You can't hug. But I feel like I could probably couch surf across the country by now. Probably go on a road trip and stay with different people along the way, of people that I've met through this process. And that really excites me. I think I get excited about it. So, I mean, even though, and then I hear myself say that, I have to say, and I realize, and I stop and think about what we're talking about. We're talking about grieving, losing children, and hurting over the decisions of our child. And then I'm sitting here going, I get excited about that. So it feels like, oh, am I being like, crass? But you know what? It's because of God. God has given me joy even in the midst of it. And I look at hurting moms and grieving moms, and I don't see necessarily where they're at right now, but I see where they're going to be down the road, what he's going to do in their life, and how he's going to heal them, and how he's going to turn around and use them to give hope to somebody else, just like he's using you today. And that, like, I get overwhelmed with God when I think about that stuff, and I see it happen all the time.
It's interesting that you said that, about how you said, I get excited about it. And I have to tell you, Cathy, I think you told me, because I can't explain it, so I know it's God. After what, I've been through and what everybody else has been through, not to suppress the joy that I have when I have it, because there's going to be those other moments where I don't have it. So when I come on here, I've told the ladies, I said, my goodness, it's like, would you not want to change the channel if you came on to get hope and receive hope? If I was on there and I was just sobbing and sobbing and sobbing, that wouldn't give you hope. And so I hope that everybody sees, that my joy it's real. It is really real. And then half an hour from now, I could walk outside and I could see a hummingbird, and I think, oh, it reminds me of my son. And then I could get a couple tears, but then I go and think, man, he's going to show me my mansion when I get to heaven. Mm-hmm. He's waiting to show me that. And every day that passes, another day closer for me to see him. So I'm going to make the best of every day that I can. I'll feel those emotions. I want you ladies to feel those emotions. Jeannie's saying, putting on my underwear will forever be a reminder of putting on my armor of God. Because she's in my...
All right, Jeannie.
So, but it's real, ladies, and it's genuine, and you can have it. And how you can have it, Cathy always says to share the story, to not let it be down there and suppress and kind of ferment within, to where it spoils and it starts to keep robbing your joy, and you get sunken into this place where, again, Satan gets a foothold on you. We are a beacon of light. If we are still breathing, I always say, if we're a beacon of light, because we're still breathing, and that we have survived one of the worst nightmares any mother or father would ever experience. And I'm just going to address to the hurting moms, Cathy, those that lay in bed every night and have sleepless nights, wondering if they're going to get that call. And I want to say, I am so sorry for all of you too, because there's some grieving moms that are out there right now that also have that. And my heart aches for you, because I have experienced this. I've experienced this. It's like my other boys, have had their moments where they struggle. And I have told them, I said, it is not okay to not answer your phone when we can't find you. You have no idea. I'm going to make this about me. You have no idea, like, what you're making your parents go through again. And you will never know until you have children of your own. Right.
Yeah. No, that's the truth. And it's okay to be real like that. I even tell, my leaders when I'm training hurting moms group leaders, I say, we don't have to be a leader. You don't have to have arrived. I mean, I don't know if we ever arrive. You don't have to have it all together. It's okay for you to cry. Yeah, I don't either. But what I do hope is that the people leading the groups will have hope to offer through their sharing, that you can be crying, but that we know, just like you just shared, that you the days that you have that devastation, the days when you came into your group and you had to cry for a little bit and kind of dump some things out. But at the end of the day, at the end of your sharing, at the end of the group session, you do have hope to share, because you know what God has already done, and you're looking ahead and forward to what he's going to continue to do.
Yeah. And I know this may sound crazy, but it's exciting to know that once you are able to get through this, like God has got some really amazing plans for you ladies. You know, do you want to miss that? You know, do you really want to miss that? I don't think you want to miss it, because I know for a fact when I lay in bed, like I have to just say, I need to feel your comfort. I need to feel
Yeah.
like no one else is going to be able to provide that comfort to me like he does. So I also want to mention that, you know, in addition to this Hope After the Landslide, and again, if you're listening to Cathy, she has her Facebook Lives on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You know, Cathy also has, you know, her Hurting Moms support book that she has. She also has, and I know she doesn't like to talk about it, but Cathy, you have to know it's like you put your story into words in her autobiography. You want, go ahead, you have to hold it up because you need to just say that
There
was
it is.
there it is, a beautiful cover, by the way, and that you can find
Just,
that on the Hurting Moms Mending Hearts website as well. And is this all about, like, you know, selling you all these things? Absolutely not. But how are we going to get this information to you unless we put it into, you know, a book format? And by the way, it does cost money to put a book together. If I could, I would give everybody a free book. I haven't won the lotto because I don't play the lottery, but I'm just saying it's like these are tools for you. These are tools for you because, you know, God gifted us to be able to put this together for you to be able to get yourself involved in. So, and the other thing too, complimentary, you know, we both have a devotional that you can sign up and get it into your email every single day and going on to our websites. And again, the link will be at the top of this broadcast, as well as I do on my Facebook page for the Grieving Moms Finding Hope. I do it's called Hope at Sunrise. And so I put some out there, and lately these last couple of days, and thanks for your grace, because I have not been able to get it because of, you know, having to take care of my family, but you can get them on your email consistently. So, Cathy, I don't know if you have anything else you want to close with because we are at our time.
you know, just not really. I mean, every day there's so many things, right? There's so much that could be said, but every day, honestly, this is in my time alone with the Lord each day. I pray every day for hurting moms and grieving moms, and I just have this thing for moms, and it's I just know that God's in this, and I know that He's with every mom that's grieving and every mom that's hurting. And sometimes we don't sense that because we get so wrapped up in our own pain and what we're feeling. But I just want to encourage moms to just open up to it, open up to allowing the Lord to just hold them and to be their comfort. And but yeah, that's it. I'm grateful to be here, Jackie. I love you, and I love being able to share in ministry together with you. It's really, really great.
I have grown to have such a love for this woman, really, because it's like we just get each other, and I just feel it's so God ordained, and that's so weird. You have a love for moms too. That's so weird. Why?
We understand each other. I think one of the things that we talk about often is that we have this, and I think the Lord has put it in us, this passion for helping other moms that are in pain, whether they're hurting or grieving. Hurting moms grieve. They grieve over the child that they thought they were going to have that isn't doing what they thought they signed up for. And just like grieving moms are hurting and pain too. So there's so much of it that overlaps. And I feel like we both have that same passion because we know what God's done in our lives, and we just want to share that. I mean, that for me, that's why I wrote my book, is to offer hope to moms that are hurting so badly, because I hear from moms all the time that they just don't have any hope. They feel like this is their whole life. It's ruined, and it doesn't have to be. And I think that, you know, God is using us to try to get that word out there.
Well, and we can reach more people. So we've just done this. We come together, and our sister is able to give you ladies hope. So again, if you need to sign up for an online group, there's even a possibility of starting it in your own home. If you feel like you're at a place where you'd like to facilitate a group, then you can certainly do that. The links will be above there, and we will be here on Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. God willing, It just depends on what's happening in my life. And in Cathy's life, she's on again Thursday night. So again, thank you so much for taking the time, my friend. And we are continuing to pray for each and every one of you. I will try to get back and get to the comments that I missed, but thank you for being here. God bless everybody. Good night.
Good night.